You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, a Prince George's County officer charged with murder after killing a handcuffed man. He is ordered held without bond today by a district court judge who ruled the officer is a danger to the community. Corporal Michael A. Owen Jr. was arrested Tuesday night, less than 24 hours after he repeatedly shot William Green of Southeast Washington, who was handcuffed inside the police cruiser. Here's a news conference held today by Prince George's County Police Chief Hank Stawinski.
Our community knows that when I have the facts, you will have the facts. For the past almost 24 hours, I have remained in constant consultation with members of our Special Investigations Response Team, our Criminal Investigations Division, our Forensic Sciences Division, and our use of force experts. This has been a thorough and exhaustive review of all form and manner of evidence available to us, as well as a review of the preliminary findings of the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for the District of Columbia. And here are the facts. I am unable to come to our community this evening and provide you with a reasonable explanation for the events that occurred last night. I am unable to come to our community this evening and offer you a reasonable explanation for the events that occurred last night. I have concluded that what happened last night is a crime. And as a result, I have directed our Special Investigations Response Team to charge Corporal Michael Owen with second-degree murder, manslaughter, and associated weapons charges in the death of William Green.
Joining me right now is Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy. Glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you so much for having me back.
First and foremost, I understand that you are also looking into 2 other shootings of this police officer.
Actually, there is a request by the family, who's the next of kin, in one other incident involving the same officer. They've requested that we review the evidence in that case, and we will be taking a look at that evidence. That was from 2011, so of course that predates my tenure as state's attorney. But we try to be responsive to the public, and we believe that it's important that the families understand, all of the facts that the office was presented with at that time. Again, I was not, the state's attorney at the time, but it is my office, and I'm responsible for, providing as much information as I can to the family.
The decision to arrest the officer, and the chief said it was his call. What role did your office play in any of this?
Well, let me just say this, as with any case, and I want to just say this from the outset, just because this case is in the very early stages of the investigation. Officer Owen is presumed innocent until he is proven guilty. So the police did make a decision to charge, as they do in most cases involving criminal actions. They make initial charging decisions, and then we review those charges. We screen the case. In this case, because there are felony charges, as with any felony case, we will use our grand jury process to interview witnesses, collect any additional evidence, and make final charging decisions before we move forward.
Folks, this is a photo here, a booking photo of Corporal Owen as he appeared today in court via video. Attorney Braveboy, when we look at this case, first of all, a lot of people have been very shocked at how quickly this officer was charged. It is very rare to actually see that. And as you said, now it goes through the next step process. So now he was charged by the police officers, which now means that moving forward, you will now take this to a grand jury to seek an indictment, correct?
Well, what we do is we collect additional evidence. We use our grand jury process, and we ensure we are seeking the truth, and that's bottom line with the process that our office is responsible for. That is the result. We would like the result to be whatever the truth is, and whatever the truth is, that's the direction we'll move in. Again, because it's so early in the investigation, and I certainly don't want to compromise the integrity of the investigation, I really can't go into a lot of details about this specific case, but I can tell you that my office has been very diligent in every case, but in particular in cases where officers have been involved. I've had to, under my tenure, indict a few police officers. We've had 2 trials so far. We have been successful in those trials because we don't just move forward on cases just for the sake of trying an officer. We move forward on cases where we believe that's what justice requires. And so in this case, we are a neutral body. We are independent of the police department. We will review the evidence that they have, but we will also conduct our own investigation and make appropriate charging decisions.
Attorney Aisha Braveboy, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's go to our panel here. Joining us right now is Mustafa Santiago Ali, former Senior Advisor, Environmental Justice for the EPA. Scott Bolden, former Chair, National Bar Association, Political Action Committee. Deontay Johnson, Founder, President, Black Conservative Federation. Start with you, Scott. The fact that this police chief moved this quickly. Shooting took place Tuesday night. He moves on him the next day, arresting him for second-degree murder. That is extremely rare.
Yeah, but you can get a lot of facts in a very quick manner. What's interesting about this case is the other police officers who were there on the scene gave the victim immediate resuscitation efforts. But as a former prosecutor, let me say 3 things. 1, we don't have all the facts. There are a lot more facts to this. This is a really extreme case. Secondly, most police regulations say you don't handcuff a defendant or an arrestee and put him in the front seat.
Right.
They usually put him in the back seat.
Right.
Right? So why was he in the front seat? We don't know how many officers were there, but was there a prior relationship between this police officer and the arrestee? And then the shots. He shot him 7 times. That's an execution.
He shot a handcuffed man.
A handcuffed
7
man.
times.
7 times. Now, that's some level of anger, if you will. And so, lastly, either there's a prior relationship and bad blood, in my opinion, or you may have a psychotic cop who may have killed others, and he just hasn't been discovered by the police department or testing or what have you.
Well, Mustafa, one of the family members of another victim said that that person did not have a gun. He claimed that he did, and they asked the state's attorney to investigate that case, and they're now looking into that. So this officer said 2 other fatal shootings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we need to find out what other charges, not even other charges, but what other things maybe he has done that were outside of the letter of the law. What I do know is that we've got over 1,100 folks who've been killed by police last year. About a quarter of those have been African-American folks. And this is not the first time that someone has been shot who was handcuffed. And we've had people who've been handcuffed with their hands behind their back before and been shot by police. Mm-hmm. So, it's a shame that we have these types of egregious things to bring a spotlight once again on the disparity that happens, from the police and in relationship to African-American men and men of color.
Deontay, this is one of the issues that people often talk about, again, why police officers, in terms of how they're treated. It'd be very interesting to see how the union now responds, because we've seen in other cases, especially when it's a black officer, how the union oftentimes just disappears. I think about the cop who killed the white woman in Minnesota. They booked. I think about the Asian cop who was NYPD, who killed a black man in the stairwell. They testified against him. So it'll be very interesting to see how the union responds.
That is interesting. To start off, shooting a retained person there's something beyond, whether there's something beyond mentally. Like that's just sick. It's like, I've already got you in my custody, but I want to make sure that you don't go anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. And so I hope they throw the book at him. I hope he's not just fired, but I hope they throw the book at him. And the unions, it is going to be interesting to see how the unions react. And I hope that they react not based upon, any past incidents, but they based upon that you shot a handcuffed man 7 times.
Yeah, but Roland, real quick on the police unions, the Maryland State police union legislation or the rules in place allow for a suspected cop who has killed someone to not talk, to not cooperate. And what's significant about that is that the police chief charged this police officer, like the corporal, within, I'd say, less than 24 hours.
Right.
Which means whatever facts he knows or discovered or was reported, they're pretty confident that they were going to charge him with murder. And again, we don't have all the facts, but they do.
Well,
It's murder.
Well, again, he was charged with second degree.
Right.
That's what he was charged with. Now, again,
and manslaughter.
State's Attorney Braveboy, when they go through the indictment, they could actually charge him. They could actually indict him, same charges, or even take it to first-degree murder based upon what they actually find out. So we'll see. We'll certainly see what
Very
happens
sad
with that.
case.
But
Very
bottom
sad.
line is the fact that the police chief moved that quickly is something that's really important, and we hopefully will see take place in other cases as well.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
On Monday and Tuesday, the Congressional Black Caucus is calling for an emergency national summit of African American leadership on Monday, February 3rd. There will be a convening taking place at the Hyatt Regency Washington Capitol Hill. We will be there live streaming the event as well. Then on February 4th, on Tuesday, there's going to be a day-long session taking place in the United States Capitol at the theater there as well. And so this is about focus on the 2020 election, but also the U.S. Census. And so the Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee will be holding the event on Monday, and the CBC will be holding the event on Tuesday. For more information, go to cbc.house.gov/2020 summit. That's cbc.house.gov/2020 summit.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered.
See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.